Hey guys, welcome to chapter 60. While the walls come tumbling down, which I'm guessing is the Mad God's perspective, because he doesn't want Max to even be alive at the moment, and he just got a sneak peek at our oblivious king over here. Still probably being oblivious as all we've known him for. Anyways, let's hop right into it. I'm gonna be a little bit quiet because it's like 4 a.m. Also, I heard somebody downstairs. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, so let's just hop right into it. So, how many Terran humans do you have here? I asked, glancing around. Currently seated by one of the fires within the underground camp. I was still trying to wrap my mind around what had happened. It didn't help that the others were beginning to gather around. A couple of large wooden logs were positioned around the fire pits as makeshift seats. How the hell they had gotten down into the cavern and who had to carry them in here? I had no idea. Each one probably weighed a couple 100 pounds at least. Dustin and a dozen or so humans from Earth sat around the fire with me, most of them eating something that I couldn't easily identify of crudely out of crudely made plates and bowls. Off to the side, a group of Equestrian humans that gathered and were now eyeing me curiously. Pardon, Dustin asked, giving me a confused look over his bowl of gruel. I'm motioning around at the sea of humans milling around us. Not all of these humans are originally from Earth like us, right? So how many of us are there? Oh, Dustin paused long enough to finish chewing on his food. Right, last I checked there was about 51 of us down here total, or was it 52? I don't remember. Hold on a second. He turned around and shouted back over his shoulder. Oi, Rosie, how many of us are there again? From a nearby fire, a youngish black girl glanced up. 52, she called back, pushing a pair of broken glasses up her nose. Honestly, would it kill you to remember? I had other things on my mind when you told me, Dustin grumbled. Turning back around, he took another bite of his food before continuing. Anyways, as you just heard, there's 52 of us down here. As for the other humans, I'm not entirely sure of the numbers. Most of them seem to arrive daily. They come and go as they please, so there's no real easy way to count them. Only 52, I asked, scratching on my face. That's not a lot. All things considered, truthfully, I was expecting more than that. You were expecting there to be more of us? One of the Terran humans asked, cocking an eyebrow. I gave him a bemused look before motioning around at the veritable sea of humans. He winced. Ah, I see. Never mind. 52 is a lot of the grand scheme of things, Dustin said. What do you mean? According to our one of our few sources in the strange place, there were originally 100 of us brought to this weird place against our will, Dustin said. 52 out of 100 is more than you'd think. Your source? I asked, and my mind immediately went back to Lyra. Who's your source? This weird-looking pony dude, Dustin said, making my eyes go wide. A unicorn with wicked facial hair. He saved several of us from bad situations and brought us here to help keep us safe from other ponies. Nice guy once you get past his cynical outlook. Wait. A pony helped you? Like an actual pony? I asked incredulously. He said he, so that rules Lyra out, but still, what? That doesn't make sense. No ponies know that humans are intelligent except for Lyra. Now wait a second, settle down, Dustin said, giving me an annoying smirk. I know what you're thinking, and I didn't trust him either to begin with, but he helped me out of a tight spot and claims he was a human who was turned into a pony when he got here. He's been trying to track down the other humans and get us all together to figure out a way back home. His name's Paul. Where did this Paul get his information? I asked, my brow furrowing. That seems like a very specific number. 100 humans. How does he know that's how many of us showed up? It matches up with Lyra's statues, but still, how did this new pony learn about that? Well, according to him, he was one of the first humans to be brought here, Dustin said with a shrug. And you believed him? I paused, blinking once before sitting up straighter. Wait a minute, how does he know he's one of the first humans teleported here? We all ended up here in separate spots, right? Damn. Now now they're questioning themselves now. Hopefully, I shoot up near an ocean. A female on the log to my left spoke up. The name's Courtney, by the way. She reached a hand out and shook it. I was found by a caravan of ponies heading to a large town built on the shoreline. They then sold me, and I was brought to the city just above us. She pointed up at the ceiling of this cavern and Canterlot far above. I appeared in the middle of a swamp. Another person said, I just wandered around for a couple of days until this weird pony found me and brought me here to her home that was built into a hill. I escaped later that night, took some of her food, and made a run for it. One capture and several trades later, I arrived in the city above as well, made a run for it. Several humans found me and they brought me here. I was found in the middle of a forest by a unicorn that wore a cape and a hat. Another woman said with a shrug. I followed her to the nearest town and a group of armored ponies grabbed me and took me into some place that looked like a pound. Exactly, I said before anyone else could speak up. And I ended up in a desert. We all ended up in different places, so how does this supposed human-turned-pony know he was one of the first to arrive? Was someone handing out numbers and I just missed it? What was that date that you were taken? Dustin asked. I gave him a confused look. What? The date, he repeated. What day was it when you were taken? It was, I quickly racked my brain trying to remember. It was sometime in May, I believe. I don't know the exact day. That just blur together sometimes. May of what year? 2013, I replied, blinking. I glanced around. Why? Did you all arrive on different days? November of 2012, Carney said. There are more days. 3 more days, and it would have been Thanksgiving. I was supposed to bring the turkey, too. December 25th, 2012, the man with the great, mask said with a huff. Merry Christmas to my wife and little girl. December of 2012, someone else called out. October 2012, for me, came another. What the fuck? I'm getting goosebumps and I'm getting cold because it's freaking morning. Ah. February of 2013, August 18th, 2012. I was brought here on January 12th of 2013, Dustin said with a half grin. One minute I was drinking with my buddies, and the next thing I know, I'm in the middle of a river heading towards a large waterfall. Survived the drop, lived off the land for a few months until I was found by some ponies who brought me to the city above. After a few weeks, I was able to escape. But you all arrived a year or so ago, I asked, earning several nods from the surrounding people. Give or take a few days, Carney said. That doesn't make any sense, I muttered, scratching my head. Taken on different days, but arriving around the same time. Makes sense or not, you are one of the last to get taken, Dustin said, popping the last of his food into his mouth. Given the information we've gathered between the 52 of us, the closest person to you is Drake over there. The large black man waved at me, a warm smile on his homely face, who was brought here in March of 2013. So unless our unicorn buddy finds someone else who arrived after you, you are one of the last to be abducted. And what date was your source teleported here? I asked. Dustin frowned. He couldn't really remember. He said it had been a while, but it was before 2011 of that. Of that he was sure, which puts him nearly 2 years before the next person to show up. Fuck me. I'm with Max on this. It doesn't make any fucking sense. God damn. Also, we need to go find... Oh, Max, you better deal with him, and you better get every pony back to their senses and have your ability to understand them back. Because right now, that's the only thing that's pissing me off, is Celestia and Luna are some creatures, possibly human-like in nature, but feral at the same time. Apparently Luna whispered something, but it means she still has her mind in there somewhere. And Twilight is still fucking searching for you scaredly and shit. Because I'm hoping the elements gave you some powers, Max. Honestly, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping some elements gave you some power. Also, I had a dream that when all this bullshit was over with, Max literally just discharged Lyra out of her freaking mental hospital just so she could get her life back together, which probably will be hard for her if you manage to do that. Rubbing my temples, I stared into the crackling flames as I tried to process what he has said. Their source is a pony who claims that he is a human-turned pony, but that doesn't make sense. Someone would have discovered him right off the bat because he wouldn't have been able to understand any of the ponies and vice versa. What if the transformation allowed him to communicate with him? But if he told Dustin all of this, then that means that he can talk with humans. Is he like Lyra and able to understand both sides? But if that was the case, then he should have figured out that ponies believe humans are stupid, not to mention the big-time difference between us all. Ugh, my brain hurts. You okay? Dustin asked as I grimaced. He gave me a worried look and put a hand on my shoulder. Yeah, just thinking, I murmured. You said that the source of yours was rounding us up? That's right. And he's only managed to find 52 of us. Not exactly, Dustin said with a wince. He's only found 52 of us alive. I blanched. You don't mean... out of the 100 or so of us that are supposedly here, 23 have been confirmed dead, Dustin said gravely. The remaining 25 are missing. They're somewhere out there. We just don't know where. Hopefully they're still alive. 24, grunted the woman who was missing half of her left arm. Dustin gave her a confused look. Pardon? You said that there was 25 humans unaccounted for, the woman said. She nodded at me. There's one right here, 24. Dustin's eyes lit up. Yeah, but we're not part of this. No, we're not part of this. Max is not part of this. I suppose you're right, he said, leaning back on the log. He scratched at his beard as he stared at me closely. Looks like he's been put through the ringer, too. I opened my mouth to shoot a rebuttal at him, but then just someone shouted out from somewhere in the crowd. Maximilian, is that you? Max! The voice was strangely familiar, but I couldn't place it where I had heard it before. Who the fuck is calling you? Max? Who the fuck is calling you? Like, for real. Who the fuck is calling you? And how would they know? Dustin and I glanced our in confusion as someone pushed their way through the sea of humans, heading in our direction. Excuse me, pardon me, can I just squeeze through here? Thank you, excuse me, sorry. The voice grew louder as the speaker approached, the crowd parting for them. My eyes widened in shock as I suddenly remembered where I recognized the voice from. No, it can't be. She's here? Everyone glanced up as a woman finally stepped into the firelight. Her eyes locked on me. Her hair was longer than I remembered, brown strands hanging down in front of her eyes. Who the heck is that? Oh my god, it is you! She breathed before suddenly hurrying forward and throwing her arms around my neck. I can't believe you're here. Her grip tightened as if she was afraid I would suddenly disappear. I could only stare dumbly ahead as my ex-girlfriend continued to squeeze the life out of my neck. The last time I had seen her had been nearly 3 years ago when she shouted me down in public and stormed off, all because I had casually stated that I didn't consider golf a sport. To her, one of the major members of a golf team, it was apparently a huge insult. I tried to apologize, but she had blocked, ignored, and removed me from almost every social media possible, and she wouldn't answer my calls. I had to stop trying after a week and had moved on. We hadn't talked since. Oh, this is gonna complicate things, Max. This is gonna complicate things. And now here she was, hugging the stuffing out of me on a completely different world. What were the odds? Chelsea, I finally managed to choke out. She released her grip on my neck and leaned back, nodding happily. How long have you... What? Her smile faded slightly. Nice to see you too, sitting on the opposite side of me as Dustin. She nestled up against my side and wrapped her arm around mine. I arrived here almost a year ago, I think. I don't know what happened. One minute I was lying down in the back of my car and to take a nap in between classes, and the next thing I knew I woke up in this horrible land. I was in a strange forest where I was chased by wolves made of wood. She laughed. I mean, come on, wooden wolves? What is this, a cartoon? I thought I was high. I was high until one of them scratched me, and luckily I managed to get away, but then I was chased by a group of ponies. I was on the run for several months, stealing food and drinking out of rivers and lakes. It's been hard, really hard, but thankfully I was found by a group of these other humans, and they led me here. So, you were pulled to this world too, I asked softly. I didn't even know you were missing. She winced, hanging her head. Well, to be fair, we never really talked much after we broke up. Yeah, and that's how we're gonna stay that's how you're gonna stay, broke it up, because right now, whew, Max is having some weird relationship troubles, I can say that, goddamn. Yeah, I wonder why, I muttered under my breath, low enough that I was hoping she wouldn't hear me. Unfortunately, she did. Yeah, about that, she stood with once. I want to apologize for that. I was really angry about what you said, and it took me a while to cool down, but when I did, I realized that you weren't insulting me, you were just expressing your opinion. Did it take you 3 years to figure that out? I asked, cocking an eyebrow. Chelsea once again. Well, no, but I didn't know the best way to broach the subject without getting upset again. You usually don't get angry over anything, but I didn't want you to think I called you up just to insult you again. I felt my right eye twitch. She didn't care about my feelings. She just didn't want herself to look bad. Yep, that sounds about right. So what changed? I asked, keeping my tone neutral. I ended up in this place, she said, staring into the fire sadly. All the stuff I see, and it got me thinking. I didn't want the last thing I ever said to you to be an insult, especially not with how close we used to be. She laughed, although there was no humor in it. I just never thought I would get a chance to apologize, yet here we are. Yeah, I said softly, here I am. Silence fell for a few seconds before the sound of a throat being cleared, reminding me that we weren't alone. Young love, a woman in the back cooed. Oh, just shut up. Shut up. This is not gonna happen. So I take it you two know each other? Dustin asked, a hint of amusement in his voice. I glanced up to see most of the pony around the fire giving us curious looks, some of them even breaking out into amused smirks. I felt my feet sit up, and I tried to scoot away from Chelsea, but she just nodded happily and moved closer to me. Yep, she chirped. Max and I go way back. We grew up in the same town, we went to the same school, and even dated through most of high school until we broke up over something silly. Well, good for you! A guy sitting on the other side of the fire murmured. You know, I never thought I'd see someone be happy to see their ex again, Courtney said, raising an eyebrow. I'm not exactly... I wouldn't say Max is exactly happy. Well, he's not that bad, Chelsea said with a shrug. Although, truthfully, I'm just surprised to see a familiar face here, of all places, even if it is him. My brow furrowed at her words. Was that an insult? I'm surprised as well, Dustin admitted. You two are the first people who knew each other before arriving here. That caught my attention. Wait, really? Upon receiving the nod, I glanced around. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised where all of you are from then. Where all of you are from then. At least half of us appear to come from some part of the U.S. Dustin said, although there are also people from Canada, Britain, Italy, and one or two from Denmark and Belgium. He leaned forward, placing his elbows on his legs. That's only those that we know of. The other missing or dead humans could have been from different countries as well. Excuse me. I'm assuming that communication is a bit of an issue, I asked. Dustin smiled. Actually, not really, surprisingly enough. We were lucky. One of the lads from Britain, Ian, I think his name was. Anyways, he speaks French, but takes care of the two girls from Belgium, and the guy from Denmark speaks English. He shrugged. The only issue we have is the people from Italy, as only one of them can speak English, but she doesn't know that much. We're making do, though. He said, leaning back. Interesting, I muttered, scratching my beard. It was because of Discord that I had been brought to Equestria in the first place, so it stood to reason that he brought the other humans here as well. But why the fascination with the US, I mused. If he was grabbing humans at random, the nationalities would be much more random, right? So why are they so concentrated? Was he looking for something specific? I glanced around at the people gathered around the fire with me. What do all of us have in common? What was he... A sudden slap on the back of my head brought me back to the real world. Rubbing the tender spot, gave Chelsea a confused look. What was that for? You were thinking too hard, she said. I was talking to you and you weren't responding, but what else is new? Sorry, I muttered. What did I miss? I was asking what happened to you since you got here, she said, leaning against me again. I told you my story, now let's hear yours. It's got to be a good one. I mean, just look at that scar. She pointed at my face. It looks horrific. There has to be an awesome story behind it. Oh, fuck you. I'm gonna fuck. I'll be mad. Where am I? Damn it, I keep losing track of these. Damn, no. Max, you're staying in this world, okay? You better stay in this world. These humans can buck off while I care. It's not that bad, is it? I muttered, subconsciously rubbing the scar across my face. This just causes Dustin to laugh. No need to be modest here, he said, slapping me on the back. Be proud of your scars. We all know how cruel those ponies can be, man. You aren't alone in that regard. Come again, I asked, blinking. Dustin ignored me and turned to the thin, gaunt-looking man who was sitting on the next log over. Hey, Josh, tell him what happened to you. That should loosen him up. Oh, no. Damn it, Max sees them as equals at this point, honestly. The thing with Max, though, is that he's befriended them. Well, technically, yeah, he was a pet for Twilight, but he befriended her straight up. Josh just continued to stare blankly into the flames. As he finished chewing, he only had a pair of tattered pants, revealing his torso, which was so thin that you could see his ribs. It wasn't to the point of being too unhealthy, but he could stand to gain a few pounds. I eyed him curiously, unable to see any visible scars anywhere on his body. Josh was silent for a good minute or so before finally speaking. What he did, his voice was raspy and dry. I'm not sure the exact date of my arrival, but I arrived in the city above us, he said, still staring into the flames. Confused, I wandered the streets for a good few hours before I was captured by several of those unicorn ponies in golden armor. They put me in a cage and took me to a large building where they kept a bunch of other humans. It turned out to be a research facility. They experimented on us, he spat hatefully. They started almost immediately, too. I was given a collar and placed in the large cage with 4 other humans. There was nothing else in this cage except for a tall ladder standing in the center of the enclosure. When I first saw it, I didn't know what it was there for, but I would soon come up to hate that goddamn ladder. As soon as the experiment started, one of the ponies placed a piece of meat at the top of the ladder. I knew something was up, but I hadn't had anything decent to eat for a couple of days, and even though the steak was raw, it still looked pretty fucking good from the drooling. I could tell the other humans thought it so as well. Of course, you can probably guess what happened next. After the initial squabble, one of the humans climbed up the ladder to get to the meat. However, as they began to climb, one of those fucking scientists blasted the rest of us with freezing water. It took your breath away the minute it hit you. Yeah, so they were making you smarter. Or make another one smarter, and not the Earthling ones, the Equestrian ones. Max, still being the Oblivious King as always. The only thing, you've earned the name Oblivious. The only thing, how are you gonna earn the name as King? Especially since I literally kept calling you King, and it bothered me a little bit. I don't know what to think of this right now. Also, I'm guessing this is not when Archmage came in yet. As I'm guessing Archmage right now is currently still dealing with Celestia and Luna, which is still pissing me off so much. I'm still hoping that Elements somehow gave Max some power to defeat this asshole. Okay, the bad god, which I'm guessing is Archmage by now, because Discord has nothing to do with this at all. Straight up. He probably bought my... hoped that Max was gonna help them, but apparently, yeah, Discord didn't really manage to explain anything while he was recurring nightmares in the beginning. Also, when Max told Twilight about his life, he literally like just accepted the world now. He just accepted what was to be, and he accepted it. And now some of Twilight's friends now know, and they're friends. And so are the princesses, for that matter. Which pretty sure they know their loyalty, especially when it comes to Twilight. Twilight would kill, go on a rampage if Max was found dead or anything of the matter. Damn. Anyways, damn, I'm getting pissed off because like these were normal earth-feeding humans, and they didn't try to communicate with their owners or anything like that. It wasn't a one-time thing either. This continued for days, the same fucking thing over and over again, until the other humans finally got through their thick skulls that they would only get sprayed when another human climbed the ladder. It got to the point that anytime a human would start up the ladder before the ponies had a chance to blast us, the other humans would pull, I'm down and attack. I'm down and attack. I'm ashamed to admit that I may have participated in some of the beatings, but the water ain't right, man. It hurts inside to get hit by it, so I attacked. I'm too, anything to get the freezing to stop. At this, Josh showed off, staring into the fire as he shivered at the phantom chill. The two guys sitting next to him shifted uncomfortably, and one put a hand on Josh's shoulders. Anyways, Josh continued when he finally regained his composure. After a while, none of the humans would even approach the ladder, not even when the ponies started to increase the amount of meat or change the type of meat. Hell, they even dangled a female human above the ladder, trying to convince one of the males to climb. However, we knew what was going to happen if someone did climb. They would either get beaten or we'd get blasted with water, so no human climbed the ladder. No human even tried. Then things changed, apparently. We weren't entertaining enough anymore, because one day the scientists replaced one of the humans, took him out, and placed a new human in. Of course, this new human didn't know what was going on. So what's the first thing he did when a piece of meat is placed on top of the ladder? Climbs right the fuck up. Poor bastard didn't stand a chance. The other humans beat him, didn't they? I asked, shaking my head. You're damn right they did, Josh shouted, causing those around him to jump. Pulled him right the fuck down and beat the ever-living shit out of him. Didn't learn his lesson either. The stupid sod. It took 3 or more beatings before he learned to stay as far away from the fucking ladder as fucking possible. Then after that, another human was substituted, and the same fucking thing happened again. The first swapped human even joined in the beatings, didn't even get blasted by the water once, and here he was, waiting on the poor bastard with all the care in the world. This happened again as the third human was placed, then the fourth one was replaced, and the same thing happened again. By the end of the month-long fucking experiment, I was the only one original human in there. I was in the cage with 4 new humans for fucking humans who, without having been sprayed by the fucking freezing water, would beat any human senses who dared approach the ladder. Even glancing at it earned you a snarl. And then they took me out, Josh finished, throwing his hands into the air. God help the poor bastard they replaced me with. Fucking ponies. This is the thing though, Max respects ponies as an equal. But everybody that is currently down here probably hates them to fucking hell. I'm gonna feel bad for Max, as his opinion is not gonna matter. I was in that place too, another human spoke up. She shook her head, a look of disgust on her face. They did all kinds of stuff to us, forced us to run through a maze where the floor shocked you, dunked you in a pool, and forced you to tread water until you pass out. Hell, they'd even inject you with chemicals to see what would happen. Those pastel freaks are fucking evil, cried out a human listening from another fire. Yeah, don't even get me started on why they try and rape you. Yeah, they think they can get away with doing that kind of stuff to us. Hell no. I can kind of see where they're coming from, I said, closing my eyes and rubbing my forehead. Well, all of the nearby talking stopped, leaving only the gentle murmur of the humans out of earshot. I glanced up only to find everyone staring at me, wide-eyed. Chelsea had even pulled away from me, a look of disbelief on her face. I beg your pardon, the lady with a half an arm growled, glaring at me. What? I asked. Did you just say you agreed with what those fuckers are doing? What? No, I scoffed, shaking my head. I never said I agree with their experiments. I said I can understand where they're coming from. What do you mean? Dustin asked. Oops, not good, by his tone of voice. I could tell that I needed to tread carefully. Are you saying that it's okay for them to rape and torture us? He asked, eyes narrowing slightly. No, stop putting words in my mouth. I'm talking about the experiments, I said. When everyone continued to glare at me, I huffed. Oh, come on, we did the same thing to chimpanzees back home, remember? We had a whole thing going on where a bunch of people wanted companies to stop these cruel animal experiments because it was evil and inhumane. That's different, someone shouted. How? I asked. How is it different? Max, you're gonna get fucking, like, just ripped to bits if you don't... Oh, god damn it. I'm gonna hate these guys at the end, aren't I? Chimpanzees aren't human, they're animals. That's not an excuse, I scoffed. If they do something super intelligent, then everyone goes on about how they're practically human, but when it comes to doing experiments on them, they're just animals. You're comparing us to animals? Chelsea asked, scrunching up her face. Because that's how ponies view us, I shouted. Dustin stood up suddenly, a blank look on his face. He reached down and grabbed a handful of my shirt, pulling me to my feet, keeping a firm hold on me. He glanced around. Where's Natasha? There was a swell of murmuring before someone finally called out from an adjacent bonfire. She's over here. Dustin grunted in acknowledgement before dragging me over to the speaker. Chelsea followed attentively. Whoa, hey, what the hell? I stumbled along, well aware that several of the humans were still glaring at me. Unsurprisingly, it was only the Terran humans. The Equestrian humans just had curious looks on their faces as they watched us closely, just observing, nothing more. We finally stopped in front of a woman who was sitting with her back to a log, her knees pulled up to her chest. She looked to be in her early 30s, her black hair hanging loosely in front of her eyes. Dirt covered her face and hands, and her clothes had seen better days. She stared blankly ahead of her, her blue eyes dull and almost lifeless. Keeping a firm hold on me, Dustin motioned down at the woman. What's wrong with her? I asked, pulling my shirt from his grasp. When he didn't answer, I knelt down and waved a hand in front of her. Her eyes dully followed my hand back and forth. What do you want? She asked weakly, her voice devoid of emotion. Are you alright? I asked, concerned. She looked fine on the outside. There were no scars, and she had enough fat on her that it didn't look like she had been starving. She just shrugged before staring off into space again. Standing back up, I gave Dustin a confused look. Damn. Yep, Max knows where the ponies are coming from because he's been on the other side of that. But to these guys, they have been nothing but cruel. She wasn't in the same building as us. There were no scientists. She wasn't part of any experiments, he said, his face neutral. She was brought by a family of 4 ponies. She was bought by a family of 4 ponies, a male, female, and 2 children. They fed her, clothed her, and apparently the kids loved her. If them wanting to take her everywhere, I wasn't any indication. So what happened? I asked. From what we gather from her, she was apparently too rough with one of the kids one time when they were playing around, and the parents freaked. The next thing she knew, they took her to a hospital and had her spayed. I stood there staring down at the woman with a grimace on my face. My right eye twitched as memories began to flash before me. A woman shrieked as though writhed upon the ground in pain, all while a group of ponies laughed in the background. I couldn't see much of my position in the too small cage, but from what I could see, it made me ill. If it weren't for the fact I hadn't anything real to eat in days, I would have been sick right there and then. After a few seconds, a low hissing noise filled the air, followed by the smell of burnt flesh. The woman screamed until she was hoarse. As the phantom images faded, I reached a hand upon and gently massaged my temple. While it was true that the way Darkflare and his gang maneuvered and spayed humans was traumatic to both the human being Fics and any sane observers, they were not a good example of a Christian's veterinarian care. A true veterinarian would never perform such an operation on a conscious creature. Human or not, and if they did, there was basically animal cruelty. Would it be human cruelty? Torture? This humans are becoming an intelligent thing was making things weird. I was put out of my musing by Dustin, who motioned down at the woman. You see this? He asked. There were no experiments, no scientists. The only reason this happened to her is because a pair of ponies got scarred, and now she must bear the mental and physical scars because of it. Sighing heavily, I closed my eyes and gritted my teeth. I wasn't going to let this. Hell, I didn't even know why I was about to do this, but I felt like, since I was the only one who knew relatively both sides of the story, I had to defend my pony friends. Well, only a few were actually my friends, but you get my point. Of course they spayed her, I huffed, opening my eyes and turning to face Dustin, as well as the other humans that had followed us. Angry gazes stared back at me, and dark mutterings started up into the background, sounding like a growing swarm of hornets. From behind Dustin, Chelsea gave me a disbelieving look. Max, I know you're all for speaking on your mind, especially without giving any real thought, but there is a time and a place. Look, I know this is upsetting, but think about it, I said, holding my hands. If your dog is misbehaving and acting aggressive, what do? You have them fixed, right? Hell, it's practically a requirement when adopting a pet nowadays. We aren't animals, someone in the back yelled, the words accompanied with shouts of agreement. To the ponies we are, I shouted back. That's how they view us, and up until recently, that was what the humans of this world were. Mindless animals, the ponies can't understand them. They have no way of knowing that the humans are slowly gaining intelligence, so they continue to treat us as they have for the past 1,000 years. Do I think it's a good thing? No. Do I agree with what they are doing? No, I do not. Hell, I was almost neutered myself several times. And yet, you're still defending them, Dustin scoffed, crossing his arm. Even after nearly being mutilated, you're still on their side? Because it makes sense, I said, throwing my hands in the air. If you think something is a mindless animal, you're going to treat it like a mindless animal. Do you blame a wolf for attacking a deer? No, you chalk it up to it being a wolf. The ponies are going to continue to treat humans as animals until such time as they are informed of what is really going on. More murmurs came from the declaration, although this time not all of them sounded angry. Some people in the back nodded, thoughtful expressions on their faces. Dustin just shook his head. So you're saying if the ponies are informed that we are intelligent, everything will be good times and rainbows? Well, no, I said, rubbing the back of my head, but ponies aren't typically violent creatures. In fact, if word gets out that humans can think and feel for themselves, most ponies are going to be horrified by how the humans are being treated. And how would you know that? A voice asked from behind me. Turning around, I opened my mouth to answer the woman, who was now crushed beside Natasha, only to freeze when I caught sight of her. She was glaring at me, her green eyes hidden partially behind strands of long red hair that fell about her face and shoulders. From what I could see of her face, fuck. There's twin sisters. Ah, fuck. Oh, fuck. As the ponies all around continued to stomp and jeer loudly, the cage door opened and deposited its contents into the pit below. The human flipped through the air, landing on all fours with a soft grunt. Slowly she began to rise. She brushed her short, fiery red hair out of her face before giving me a curious look, her green eyes glinting in the gloom. Gripping the shiv tighter in my hand, I advanced, but the steely grip around my neck tightened, a sharp fingernails digging into the flesh and drying with blood. From far above, the cheering became louder and louder. The ponies hooting and hollering in perverse glee, I struggled weakly beneath the weight of the human on top of me, trying desperately to gasp for air as I thought something wet dripped down upon my cheek. I followed by another and then another, focusing through the haze that was beginning to cloud my vision. I watched as tears streamed down the girl's face and fell down to mine. Her lips trembled as she continued to squeeze, cutting off my hair. I was dimly aware that she was repeating the same noise over and over again, a pleading, almost apologetic noise. Wincing, I massaged my temple, never taking my eyes off the red-haired female in front of me. I fought back there to vomit as the memory slowly retreated back into the dark recesses of my mind. The woman's look of annoyance turned into confusion and then to concern as I continued to stare at her. Are you okay? She asked. Hey, buddy. She snapped her fingers a couple of times. You still there? Yeah, I stammered, glancing away only to look back a few seconds later. Yeah, I'm fine. You sure? She asked skeptically, raising an eyebrow. 'Cause you're really starting to creep me out with all that staring, she shivered. Seriously, stop it. It's like you've seen a ghost or something. That isn't too far from the truth, I muttered, absentmindedly rubbing my neck as I tried to ease the phantom pain that had sprung up. I continued to stare at her for a few more seconds before shaking my head. Sorry, I said. You just reminded me of someone else, someone I met a long time ago. At my words, she just stared up at me blankly. Before her eyes suddenly widened and she gasped, she stood up quickly, hope sprang up on her face. Wait, you've met Emily? I jerked back at her sudden shout. Who? Fuck, Max. Max, you're about to get fucked. God damn it. My sister, she cried, taking a step forward. She paused when I flinched before giving me a sheepish smile. Sorry, it's just, I can't believe. Okay, let me start over. My name is Amy Shepherd. Emily's my twin sister. She looks just like me, except that Emily likes to keep her hair short, about shoulder length. You've seen her, haven't you? My eyes widened and I felt my heart freeze in my chest. Oh shit. Unfortunately, she misread my response. You have! Large smile spread across her face. Oh, thank God, we got separated shortly after arriving in this world, and I've been trying to find her ever since. She gave me an eager look. Fuck, Max. What are you gonna do to get out of this one? The bright smile on her face killed me. That look of joy, that look of someone who had been begging, praying for the best, and had just now found a small sliver of hope to hold on to, like she had been stranded on an island lost at sea and had looked up one day to see a ship on the horizon, and now I had to sink that ship. Oh, I didn't want to be too hopeful, but she has always been the strongest. Yes, Amy laughed, pumping her fist in the air. Yes, yes, yes. She stopped cheering and turned back to me. When was the last time you saw her? Do you know where she is? Is she alright? Where is she? You see, I stammered, my mouth suddenly dry. My mind raced as I tried to find a way out of this, but nothing came to mind. I could try laying, but that would probably come back to bite me in the ass. Eventually, still, how do you tell someone that you killed their sister, even if it was in self-defense? Rubbing the back of my neck, I opened and closed my mouth several times before sighing heavily. I shook my head before giving her a solemn look. I think I might have encountered your sister over half a year ago during human pit fight. I saw her trying to fight through the feeling of a lump in my throat. I'm sorry. Amy stared at me with wide eyes, her previous smile no longer present. She stared at me blankly for a few seconds before she gave me an unsure smile. Don't joke about that, she said, laughing nervously. This is my little sister we're talking about. I haven't seen her in months. I need to see. Don't joke about that. I wanted to look away to see her bleeding gaze, but I was unable to. I'm so sorry. Amy stared at me for her face expressionless. She remained completely frozen for several seconds before she began to shake her head faintly from side to side. Gradually, her hands began to tremble, as did her legs, and she slowly sunk to the floor around us. The other humans were muttering darkly to themselves. No, Amy whimpered, her voice cracked halfway through the word. No, you're lying. You have to be. Not Emily. She continued to shake her head, trying to deny that I just said, but unable to. She glanced up at me, tears beginning to slide down her cheeks. You're just saying that because she choked back a sob before a look of fury flashed across her face. How would you know? How could you possibly know that, huh? We were there. I was the one that murdered her. This is gonna be a shocker to everybody if he says it. Reaching up, I rubbed my neck again. I was there. I saw. Wait, you were there? She muttered, her brow furrowing. You saw her in a... You were there? She froze. Her eyes widened before she stood up suddenly. The look of hate she gave me caused me to take a step back. You, she shouted, his fist clenched in rage. You killed her? Now just hold on a minute, I said quickly, holding up my hands. Just calm down. You killed my sister, you fucking bastard, she screamed, stepping forward. She slapped me across the face, causing stars to explode in front of my eyes. Starting back, I winced in pain, the area she had hit already beginning to swell slightly. It wasn't like I did it on purpose, I shouted back. She swung at me again, but I ducked under it. You fucker. She shrieked. Nobody moved to stop, most of them unsure what to do. It's not my fault, I yelled, ducking another blow. I didn't have a fucking choice. They weren't exactly letting the humans walk out of the pit alive. I pointed at the scar on my face. I nearly fucking died myself. But you didn't. Will you just calm down and listen for a second? Bastard! There was nothing I could do, I shouted. You could have talked to her, Amy cried. You could have worked with her to find a way out of there. She stopped trying to attack me and instead just stood there, tears streaming down her face. You could have helped her. How? I asked, still keeping my distance. I had a faint taste of copper in my mouth, and as I ran my tongue over the inside of my cheek, I realized I had bitten it when she had slapped me. I don't know, she said, rubbing her eyes with the back of her head. You could have worked together to get out of there. Whenever you play dead or something other than killing her. Grimacing, I spat out a glob of blood before throwing my hands into the air. That wouldn't have worked anyways. I couldn't even understand other humans until a few days ago. The dark muttering that had been going on in the background suddenly stopped, causing me to glance around. I was met with confused gazes. Max? Yeah, speaking of Max is a good thing at this moment. What? I asked. You couldn't understand humans? Dustin asked, scratching up his face. What the blazes does that mean? I couldn't understand humans, I shrugged my shoulders. I don't know how to explain it. Up until a couple of days ago, I couldn't understand what any human was saying. It's just a bunch of chirps and grunts to me. So what changed? Dustin inquired, his eyes narrowing. The hell if I know, I said, shaking my head. Celestia had the elements blast me with the rainbow beam of friendship, and the next thing I knew, I could understand humans again. Elements, rainbow beam of friendship, Dustin muttered before shaking his head. Wait, never mind. Who the hell is Celestia? Cursing under my breath for the slip-up, I chewed on the inside of my cheek as I tried to quickly come up with an answer, and when none came to mind, I sighed heavily. She's a tall white pony with both a horn and wings, I answered. Got a sun on her butt, hard to miss. I jerked back in surprise as I gasps rippled around the crowd at my words. Dustin just nodded sadly, a knowing look on his face. Chelsea had a look of pity on her face. Why would she feel the need to pity me? What was going on? You're talking about the pony ruler, right? Dustin said. It was my turn to be stunned. What? Big, tall pony, white coat, and weird mane, Dustin asked. Her and her counterpart, the dark one, appeared to be the leaders of the ponies. Those who you're talking about, right? You know them? I asked in disbelief. Of course we know about them, Dustin scoffed. Those two whores are the reason the humans are so stupid. I did pan. Say what now? It's true, Amy said as she rubbed her cheeks. She stepped forward, and as she did so, I took a step back, keeping my distance. Those two things are doing something to the humans. And what proof do you have? I inquired. We've seen them at it, Dustin said as he crossed his arms. Each morning and each evening, the two of them appear on the balcony of the palace. There's a bright flash of light, and then they leave. Happens every day at the same time. According to Paul, that's them renewing their mental spell of the humans, or whatever, magically. Bullshit, he was spouting. It was hard to understand, but he's sure that he knew what he was talking about. Oh, I'm about to fuck. Okay. Max doesn't even believe that nonsense. I stared at them blankly, my mind trying to process what they were saying each morning and evening. What could they— oh, son of a bitch. When it finally dawned on me exactly what they were written, and I had to rip a groan. It was so stupid, so idiotic that it was almost funny. I knew that Celestia and Luna were supposedly doing, but to convince Dustin and the others it was going to be next to impossible. They already thought I was insane. This was going to make it worse. Pitching the bridge on my nose, I prepared myself for the backlash. They're not doing anything to the humans. Sorry, what? Dustin asked, cocking an eyebrow. Max, I feel like you have to explain, like, you befriended them and you understood them and shit. I feel like you have to explain this whole part of your story before you just start saying random shit that they're not gonna agree with. So, sorry, what? Dustin asked, cocking an eyebrow. They're doing nothing. They're not doing anything to the humans, I said again, slightly louder than before. Dustin gave me an incredulous look. What else could they be doing? They think, I paused, swallowing thinkly before wincing. Okay, look, I'm going to be blunt here, and it's going to sound crazy. They believe that they are responsible for raising and lowering the sun and moon. Dustin opened his mouth, but I held it up a hand to silence him. Look, I know how stupid it sounds. Trust me, I do. But Celestia believes she controls the sun, while Luna, the dark one, believes she controls the moon. That flash you see is them moving their celestial object across the sky, as is their duty, I said, making quotation marks with my fingers. Moving their... Dustin muttered, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Look, it's stupid, I know, I said loudly, but that's why they think it is happening. They aren't trying to suppress the humans, they aren't trying to make them dumber. Hell, they don't even know that the humans are smart-ish to begin with. If they did, they'd be trying to help us. This caused Dustin to laugh. That's the stupidest, it's the truth, I shouted. They have no clue what's going on. Look, just give me a chance to talk to them. We have a way to communicate. I'll let them know what's going on, and we can work together to fix this one day. That's all I need, I swear. You're not going anywhere, Amy growled, suddenly glaring at me. And why not? I huffed. I can fix this. I'm going to have to agree with her on this, Dustin said, shaking his head. Why? I asked as I rubbed my temples, trying to stave off a growing headache. I have your solution. Why can't I leave? Well, it's like you said earlier, Dustin said as he crossed his arms again. They hit you with the rainbow beam of friendship. That means you are currently under their spell. You aren't going anywhere in your condition. I gaped at him in disbelief. Oh, come on. Don't worry, friend, he said, giving me a warm smile. None of this is your fault. We'll sort this out soon enough, and when we do, you'll be back in your right state of mind. Oh, now I'm pissed off. No. Those elements better be helping him, like, keep his mind intact. That's all I gotta say. Sir, what out? I asked. I'm telling you, I'm not. A sudden force around my neck silenced me as it cut off my air. A sickly yellow glow appearing around my neck. I gagged loudly before my head was forcibly yanked down and found myself staring into the enraged face of a unicorn. You, he hissed. What the fuck are you doing here? There was a cloud of magic around his throat, and it pulsed each time he spoke. His glare intensified, and the hold of my neck tightened. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Dustin approaching with a look of concern on his face. Paul, what are you doing? Taking care of a problem, the unicorn wheezed, that has been plaguing me for a long, long time. He gave his head a yank to the side, and I was suddenly on my back, reaching up. I futilely grabbed his magic, trying to free myself. One of my fingers just passed right through the cloud. Dude, come down, I heard someone shout. There was a sharp thud off to the side, and I could suddenly breathe again. Gasping for air, I rolled over onto my hands and knees and glanced up. The unicorn was rubbing his sparkling horn while glaring at Dustin, who was rubbing his hand and wincing. What do you think you're doing? The unicorn growled. Trying to calm you down, man? Doesn't Hoff? You straight up attacked him. What the hell? I'm fixing your mistake, the unicorn wheezed as his horn ceased sparking. You should never have brought him here. As I staggered back to my feet, Dustin gave the unicorn a confused look. What mistake? Do you recall the anomaly I told you about months ago? The unicorn growled. You mean the one that was messing up your plans? Dustin asked her. He rubbed the back of his head. I mean, yeah, I remember, but what does that have to do with... He froze, his eyes going wide before darting over to me. You can't mean... Precisely, the unicorn snarled before his horn began to glow again. The pressure returned around my neck, and I once again found myself being dragged along at the ground. Oh, God bless it. This, the unicorn grunted, lifted me into there, is the bastard that's been causing me so much grief, the thorn in my side, the bane of my existence. His magic flickered slightly before strengthening again. I don't even know you, I rasped, struggling to breathe. The fucking princess's pet, he continued ignoring me. This waste of flesh is in the league with the ponies. Has been since he first arrived here. I tried to get him to see reason in the beginning, but he ignored me and chose ponies over his fellow humans. I didn't give up, though. I tried to save him, but now he's nothing more than the princess's lapdog, doing whatever they tell him to. They tell him to jump, he jumps. They tell him to bark, he barks. He glowered at me, his lips pulled back in a sneer. You've probably noticed it by now, defending the actions of the ponies, claiming that they don't know that humans are intelligent, claiming that we are the ones in the wrong. There came several sounds of information and of the surrounding crowd, and I noticed with a sinking feeling that everyone was glaring at me. Hey, I never said, I began, only to have the force around my neck tighten, cutting me off. A dog, ever loyal to its master, that's all he is, and that's all he'll ever be. The unicorn grunted. He paused briefly before a dark grin slowly spread across his muzzle. And what's a dog without his collar? The light around his horn flickered slightly before flashing. A black collar, complete with a tag on the shape of Twilight's cutie mark, appeared in the air in front of me. Another burst of magic, and it slithered around my neck, wrapping tightly around it before buckling. With that, I was dumped back onto the ground again. That's it, boy, bark. The unicorn sneered as I hacked and coughed, gasping for air. I struggled to get to my feet, only to have someone suddenly kick me in the side, forcing what little air I had out of my lungs. Gazing up through watery eyes, I saw Amy glaring down at me. Fucker, she spat before turning and stalking away. Not my fault, I wheezed pathetically. As I pushed myself into a kneeling position, Chelsea moved in front of me with her hands on her hips. She just stared down at me and shook her head. You were always kind of weird, Max, she said, but, well, I have to be honest, this has to take the cake. There was a time you found it endearing, I gasped, looking up at her. Yeah, back when it was funny, she said. Now it's just weird. Weird? I mean, really, siding with the fucking ponies? How messed up do you have to be? Excuse me. Most of them are my friends, so fuck you. Ex-girlfriend that I honestly don't give a fuck about right now? And neither should Max. I tried to respond to somehow defend myself from this deteriorating situation, but with the collar restricting my air supply, I couldn't get the words out before she began to walk away as well, refusing to let that be the end of it. I staggered to my feet to go after her, only to suddenly be yanked back down to the ground. You're not going anywhere, the unicorn growled, his face inches from mine. From this distance, I could see that his coat was covered in sweat, his breathing was coming in heavy gasps, and the magic around his horn was flicked on and off as he held me down. I had seen Twilight in a similar state several times. She had called it magical exhaustion or something like that. You're lucky, boy, he hissed. If I hadn't just wasted a huge amount of magic earlier, I would end you right here, right now. He trailed off, his eyes becoming unfocused. One of them flashed, the irises becoming a deep emerald green for a brief second before. With a shake of his head, his gaze sharpened again. As it is, she continued, I don't have the energy required right now to do so. However, I've come too far now for you to just fuck everything up. I will not have you running around causing trouble again. There might be nothing you can do to stop the coming storm right now, but I'm not going to risk it. Gritting his teeth, the magic around his horn flared brightly, and I was lifted bodily into the air by my neck. As I struggled weakly in the air, his horn flashed again, and the rock directly beneath me began to shimmer and undulate like water. The humans nearby quickly backed away, eyeing the rippling ground with confusion and surprise. What's wrong? The unicorn asked, giving me a look of fox confusion as I stared down at the flexing ground in trepidation. You look a little tense, a little nervous. Tell you what, how about a nice relaxing dip to help you calm down? With that, he slowly began to lower me. As my feet came in contact with the ground, they sunk into the rock with very little resistance. I winced at the sensation that slowly worked its way up my legs as I was submerged deeper and deeper into the earth. It was like being dipped into cold jello, except I could also feel the rough edges of the rock pulling and tugging at my pants. The ground was both a solid and a liquid at the same time. A shiver ran down my spine at the sensation, and I began to struggle again, but I was unable to escape his magical grasp. He's continued until I found myself immersed with the ground up to my neck. The unicorn cancelled his magic with little difficulty, the spell practically collapsing on its own. The magic around me disappeared, but before I had a chance to move, the ground hardened again. What the? I found trying to lift my arm, but instead found myself unable to move an inch. The rock, encasing my body, remained firm and unyielding. I opened my mouth, only to be gagged suddenly by a piece of cloth as it wrapped around my head. There, that should hold you, the unicorn wheezed. You aren't going anywhere now. You can stay down here and rule over your new domain. You are now the king beneath the mountain, king of... His words were interrupted as he dissolved into a hacking cough, wiping his mouth with a hoof. He gave me a withering glare before he turned his gaze away and shook his head. I don't have time for this, he growled under his breath. Dustin approached tentatively, his eyes wide. Dude, what the hell is that? He asked, staring down at me. I made it so you couldn't do anything stupid, the unicorn huffed. He took a step, only to suddenly wince and lift a hoof up to his head. You okay? Dustin asked, giving him a concerned look. The unicorn nodded, his eyes closed. I'm fine. A pause. Maybe not, he said. I used a lot of energy earlier before coming here. That combined with what I did to this thing, he kicked the back of my head with a hoof, causing me to let out a muffled grunt. Proved to be a little too much, and now it's going to be beginning to affect me. I thought you were trying to lay low, Dustin said with a frown. What did you do to exhaust yourself already? I had to get away, the unicorn said. The sisters found out what I've been up to. A look of worry spread across their faces of the surrounding humans, but the unicorn held up a hoof. They don't know where we are, but we are unfortunately going to have to move our plans forward. How much forward? Someone inquired from the crowd. We need to move now, the unicorn replied. He paused before glancing over to Dustin. That won't be a problem, will it? Dustin exchanged looks with someone who was standing somewhere behind me before shaking his head. Nah, bro, we're good to roll. Oh, I'm so pissed right now. Max is literally just stuck in the ground, like, what the fuck? Splendid, the unicorn said as he massaged his temples. Then get up there and cause as much chaos as possible. I'll finish up down here and bring up the second wave. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, we can finish this tonight. I'm about fucking... Oh, great. Max, somehow get the fuck out of that fucking magical grasp that's holding you down. Somehow, please get the fuck out. Dustin gave him a quick salute before turning and marching off. He left my line of sight, but I could still hear him shouting orders. Alright, everyone, up and at 'em. Time to get to work. Grab whatever makeshift weapons you managed to make and get ready. Stan, get the ammo ready. Tracy, you get the medkits. The vanguard is taking the lead, just like we trained for. Everyone else follow slightly behind. Remember, if we ran into any problems, Tinker is our backup plan. His voice was soon lost in the noise that followed us as people started to move out. The clattering of metal, the shifting of cloth, and the sound of people shouting at one another filled the air. I couldn't see any of it, though, as I could only stare straight ahead into the smirking face of that bloody unicorn brick. And just like that, it's over, he said only to me. I played my pipe, and they danced to my tune. I pit one against the other, and they all topple like a line of dominoes. Checkmate, Yahtzee, bingo, I win, you lose, just like that. It's strange, though, he continued, tilting his head to the side. I'm almost going to be sad when this is over. Almost, but not quite. It was fun while it lasted, but all things must come to an end, no? It almost seems unfair. All things considered, it's almost too easy. Then again, she never really had a chance to begin with, not after my contingency plan went into effect. I will miss these little games we played together. Oh, I'm dead. So dead right now. I won't miss you, though, he said, staring down at me. Unable to speak, I could only growl as I glared up at him. It's nothing personal, I assure you, he said. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Most unfortunate for you, really, to have such bad luck. Almost chaotic, really, he muttered, frowning slightly. He gave me a hard look before slowly shaking his head. Truly unfortunate. Speaking about chaotic. I made a loud, sick sound, gagging noise around the cloth in my mouth. This caused the unicorn to snort and shake his head. He opened his mouth, no doubt to spew nonsense or insult me some more, only to close it again as Dustin shouted out behind me. Oi, Paul! We're ready to go. The unicorn glanced up. Then go, he said, waving a hoof. A good luck to you, my dog-faced friend. Oh my god. Right, I heard Dustin say. He paused before speaking again. Remember, you all stay here while we Earth humans go up. Got it? I heard a low murmur come from behind me, and I saw a couple of questioning humans out of the corner of my eye nod their heads. You come up when he gives us a signal. Got it? The questioning humans turned to look at the unicorn before nodding again. Good, Dustin said. Don't worry. When this is all over, the ponies won't bother us anymore. Alright, let's go. You guys are just gonna go on war. You guys are literally going to war, and you don't even fucking know it. I'm pissed off. You guys are following a stupid animal fucking mad god bullshit that has some stupid cause. While Max is over here trying to fucking has friends with the ponies, knows about the ponies. I'm fucking mad. I'm fucking mad. Craning my neck around as much as my position would let me, I watched out of the corner of my eye as a medium-sized group of humans made their way towards the entrance to the cavern. They were outfitted with crudely made weapons and gear, and most of them had looks of determination on their faces. However, a few looked uncertain, one or two glancing over at me as they left. Unable to call out to them, I could only watch them go until the last of them left my line of sight. Relaxing my neck, I turned my head around to face the unicorn again, only to blink in surprise when I saw he wasn't there. I glanced around, trying to find him, but he was nowhere. The only other creature I could see from precision were a few equestrian humans off to the side who were giving me curious looks. Ignoring them for the time being, I tried to move again, only for the rock encasing me to remain hard and yielding. I couldn't move any part of my body besides my head, even an inch. I was stuck in a hole in the ground. I was stuck as a group of Terran humans went to wage war on the ponies. There was currently nothing I could do, and my nose itched. Fuck. Yeah, this is a fucked up. Oh, I'm about to fuck. I want to fucking. Oh god, I really, really want to slap the fuck out of all the humans and the fucking mad god archmage Regent Paul. What the fuck's her name is Paul? Alright, we're going to the perspective of the excavation site, apparently. Brastar was a very confused pony and worried, definitely worried. Having trained for nearly a decade to be a human handler, she'd seen many strange things in her life, most of them human-related. She'd witnessed a human who had been renowned for her violent temper waste away on top of her handler's grave. When the unicorn had passed due to heart complications, she had witnessed a human carry an injured mare over 10 miles through rough terrain to receive medical attention. Even though said human had a broken leg, she had witnessed a human completely ignore the fact that it couldn't swim as it dove into a river to save a filly from drowning. She witnessed many oddities from humans throughout her career as a handler, and almost all of them had been protective in nature. It was almost as the humans had a sort of sixth sense for danger. Bad weather coming, the humans hunkered down. Flood coming, the humans headed for high ground. A monster attacking a city, however, that was a different story. No pony was sure if it was territorial or some other instinct, but if there was one thing humans seemed unwilling to run from, it was a monster attack. It was a guarantee that after each monster attack, reports would flood in about humans attacking the monster or defending ponies. When a Hydra attacked Oakvale, it was a small group of humans that drove it off, protecting the pony inhabitants with their lives. It wasn't just that particular case either. Every time a report came in about a monster attack, so too came the reports about humans protecting the ponies against the monsters. It was almost like the humans had some instinctual need to protect ponies from creatures that would do them harm. Yeah. Because humans in this world are accustomed to it. It was part of a handler's job to know about these kind of instincts and invoke them. That still didn't stop Brastar from being confused and worried when her humans had stopped tunneling and had placed themselves protectively between Brastar and the ponies that were currently approaching through the dark, a light from her horn illuminating the way. "What are you lot doing?" she asked, glancing around. "Come on, back to digging." She made a loud clicking noise with her teeth. "Come on, get." None of the humans moved. They kept staring intently at the approaching ponies. Several had their lips pulled back in a silent snarl. The hair on the back of Brastar's neck began to stand up. Wait, I just realized Twilight and the whole gang is in Canterlot. So, fuck. "What has gotten into you lot?" she muttered under her breath, only to gasp when the new ponies drew close enough to see, revealing two unicorns, one of which was very familiar. "Archmage, what are you doing here?" The Archmage eyed at her blankly, the light from his horn casting shadows upon his horn. He continued to stare at her for a few more seconds before he said calmly, "You may leave." What? Brastar gasped, taking a step back. "But I'm supposed to be here until this evening when Amber Rose gets here." "There's been a change of plans," Archmage interrupted, his tone unchanging. "You are excused." "But sir, we're almost to the source." "It doesn't matter." "But sir." "Thank you, Brastar," the Archmage growled. "Go home." Brastar opened her mouth to continue to protest, only to pause and close it a second later, hanging her head, and she said, "Yes, sir." "Good girl," the Archmage muttered. Keeping her head lowered, Brastar made her way past the Archmage, and she moved. Her humans moved with her, keeping themselves between her and the Archmage. She was just passing the other unicorn when she stopped, her eyes widening. He was dirty gold in color. His mane only shifted slightly darker than his coat. His eyes were hooded and were almost empty, although the lights were on, but no pony was home. However, what caused her to pause was his horn, which was currently sparkling and oozing magic. Brastar took a step back, her eyes widened in horror. Sir, your horn?" "I'm fine," the unicorn replied emotionlessly. "But sir..." "Brastar," the Archmage said, glancing over his shoulder. "He's fine." Oh, no. Brastar, I hope nothing happens to you, because we just met you. Brastar gaped at him. Pardon me for saying so, sir, but that is not fine. Brastar, that is a serious buildup of magic. Brastar, that can be life-threatening if not treated. Brastar, we need to get him to the hospital right now, Brastar cried, taking a step towards the overcharged unicorn. There was a bright flash, and Brastar and the humans ceased to exist within the tunnel. How troubling, the Archmage gasped, magic around his horn dimming slightly. To have my vast reserves reduced to this. He took a deep, shivering breath. No matter, we're almost done, as one of the Archmage and Golden Ingot turned and headed further into the tunnel. Reaching the back wall, they paused. The Archmage lifted up a hoof pressed against the rock, letting his senses spread out through the hoof and into the earth. He stayed that way for a few seconds before lowering his hoof and backing up. About a foot left to go, he muttered, eyeing the wall critically. The magic in his horn flared slightly as he gauged how much of his reserve he had left. It'll have to do, he muttered, eyes narrowing. The light around his horn grew brighter. A low groan came from the rock wall in front of him before suddenly, with a loud echoing crack, it collapsed inward in an explosion of bricks and dust. Yellowish-green light shone through the hole, causing the cloud of dust to glow eerily in the gloom. The very air seemed to pulse and hum with some unknown magic. The pair waited for the dust to settle before stepping through the newly formed hole in the tunnel wall. They emerged into a large circular cavern. It had a dome-shaped ceiling, and the floor had been curved perfectly flat. Misty fog filled the room, swirling and wafting lazily on unseen currents. In the dead center of the room, a large hole was carved into the rock. It was almost 20 feet in diameter, and the yellowish-green light was emanating from deep within its depths. Scattered all around the pit were statues of faceless humans, all carved from blackened marble. They were cracked and withered with age, some missing with limbs and heads, while others were nothing more than a pile of broken marble. Oh, great. The place Max was in during his nightmare. That's not good. At all. Never thought I'd see this place again, let alone use it, the Archmage murmured, gazing around at the ominous room. It's just as well, all things considered, it's always good to have a plan B in place for just such an occasion. With a cry of pain, the Archmage nearly collapsed, but managed to catch himself at the last second. Fighting to stay standing, he winced as another wave of pain coursed through his body. If this is what dying feels like, then no thank you, he growled, shaking his head. Turning to Golden Ingot, who was watching everything with a blank expression, motioned towards the pit with his head. Well, get going, you know what you need to do. Golden Ingot nodded before stifling, making his way towards the pit. Working his way through the sea of statues, Archmage followed, albeit at a more reserved pace. Golden paused at the edge of the pit and glanced down into its depths. It was hard to tell if the shifting contents within were a liquid or a gas. Whatever they were, they swirled together in a chaotic swirling mist of glowing substance. The pair just stood there for a few minutes, staring into the pit, before Golden suddenly dropped like a rag doll. All his legs went limp, his neck flopping back and forth weakly as he toppled head over hooves down into the abyss. He disappeared into the fog below without a trace. There was a brief second of silence before a flash of white light broke through the swirling gas. Lightning erupted from the pit and arcing across the single walls of the cavern, leaving dark streaks against the aged stone. A sudden wind bellowed around the room, pulling at the Archmage's mane and tail, causing some of the statues to collapse. The very room seemed to shake slightly. Bits of rock falling from the ceiling. This continued for several long minutes before fading. The mist began to settle back upon the floor as the lights in the pit faded back to a sickly yellow. The Archmage stared down into the pit with a raised eyebrow. Strange, he mused. That should have worked. Why didn't it work? Last time it only took... He showed off, a panic look crossing his face as he stared into the pit. Face off, and he growled softly. Added the fuel, but still needed the spark. Lowering his hoof, he watched the glowing mist of the pit swirl around for a few seconds before a small spark spread across his face. Well, it's not like it matters anymore. I was just going to dispose of him anyways. His legs shaking, the Archmage moved to stand at the very edge of the pit, swaying slightly on his heels. He laughed weakly to himself. Well, it's been fun, but it's time for this little vacation to end. Ta-ta. Oh, I get it. What's the spark? Who's the spark here? With that, the Archmage closed his blue eyes. He leaned forward, a peaceful look on his face, and began to fall, over the edge, down into the pit. As he toppled past the point of no return, his face scrunched up, he opened his eyes, the deep emerald green orbs glancing around in confusion. What the? Where am I? I gasped. A gasp escaped his lips as he caught the sight of what lay before him. His eyes widened and he tried to teleport to safety, only for his horn to spark and flicker uselessly. He opened his mouth to scream, but before the air could escape his lungs, the glowing fog consumed him. All was still for a moment. Then there was an explosion, and the cavern was consumed in a flash of yellow light. Oh, goddammit. Deep within the royal gardens, one particular stone statue trembled. A large series of cracks slowly began to work their way across its surface, while light shining from within. The shaking grew worse as the light continued to build up until finally, with a loud crack, the top of the statue exploded. A figure emerged from the smoking base of the statue, threw back its arms and yawned. Free at last! Free at last! His sword groaned as he stretched. Thank me, Almighty, I am free at last. His shoulders and neck popped several times as he twisted his limbs out about at impossible angles. Really, that was some of the worst sleeping conditions I've ever had in my life, he growled, stepping out of the remains of the stone prison. 0 out of 10 would never recommend seriously. Celeste, you need to get with the times. Stone is so last millennium. What are those box spring mattresses again? Where are those box spring mattresses again? He said, reaching back and pulling out a spring that had become lodged in his back. Box springs are a pain in the back as well. Maybe a nice waterbed. Working out the last of the kinks in his body, Discord straightened up. Oh, it feels simply marvelous to be back home again, he cooed, flexing his talons. Not to say it wasn't fun to play make-believe for a while. He reached up and pulled a fake unicorn horn off of his head and tossed it over his shoulder. But now it's time for a few things to get serious. Pulling a large pocket watch out of somewhere, Discord flipped it open before consulting it. A pink pony with a beanie cap and swollen eyes stared up at him from the face of the watch, a large dopey smile on her face. Her forelegs acted as the arms of the clock, except for they were spinning backwards while stopping and starting at random intervals. That wasn't the only odd part of the pocket watch, though. Instead of numbers, different splotches of color lined and the outer edge of its face, all of them different shades of blue or pink. It must have made some sense to Discord, for he stared at the odd pocket watch for a few seconds before gasping out loudly, a look of overly dramatic horror on his face. Goodness, is it really that time already? He cried. Oh, I'm late. Stuffing the watch back where it had originally come from, he then snapped his claws. A large scroll appeared from hidden there in front of him. Now then, what have we got left to do? Discord hummed as the scroll unrolled itself all over the gardens. It hung from the trees and got tangled in the bushes as it continued to unroll to impossible lengths. Pulling out a small pair of half-moon spectacles, Discord pushed them on the end of his nose before glancing at the scroll. To-do list was written across the top of the page in large godly letters. The listing listed simply read Celestia with a cartoon picture of her with a buck teeth and a dunce cap. Let's see, Discord said, pulling a quill out from behind his ear. Oh, cake flank taken care of. He crossed her name off the list. The next item read Luna with a picture of the moon with a butt on it. She too was crossed off the list. Crater flank taken care of as well. The princess's pet. He's currently stuck between a rock and a hard place. Dark flare. Check. His cronies check as well. Golden ingot check. The princess of shipping. He paused, scratching his head with a quill as he stared at Cadence's name. After a few seconds, he shrugged and moved on. Someone else is currently working on that at the moment. Moving on, the Coming Dawn check to took care of them earlier than planned, actually. Oh no. Discord, I thought you were a good guy here. Fuck you. He continued down the list, crossing off names in a similar manner as he went, until he reached the bottom. That should take care of everyone except for... Discord stared at the last few names on the list before a large devilish grin spread across his face. Giving the end of the scroll a flick of his wrist, it rolled back up like a window shade and disappeared in a poof of smoke. Well, he sneered, his grin growing until it threatened to split his head in half. I think it's about time for me and 6 special mirrors to have one last reunion and settle the score once and for all. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you right now. Just then, the ground began to shake. The surrounding trees groaned loudly, with several of them beginning to list to one side as the ground beneath them cracked and shifted. Yellowish smoke began to snake up through the cracks in the ground, wafting over to Discord. It surrounded the Draconicus before slowly being absorbed into its body. Yellow light began to glow from Discord's eye as more and more of the energy emerged from the ground and congealed around him. As the last of the smoke phased into the Draconicus' body, he just stood there, basking in the ceiling. Static ran up and down his body, causing the parts of his body that had fur to fluff up slightly. Listening down at his sparking claws, Discord chuckled darkly. Well, this certainly proves to be entertaining. With that, he flapped his mismatched wings before zooming off into light, cackling madly. Oh, fuck, no! I'm gonna hate where this story's going now. Author's note. Ho, ho, ho. More like a no, no, no. Also, Merry Christmas again, apparently. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching and listening to what the heck you guys do. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I am gonna hate the next couple of chapters, aren't I? Max, you better get the fuck out of that cave and start being the oblivious king. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching and listening to what you guys do. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
100,000 stories have filled my head as I look for the answers in